listening to Old Friends News Program, the only source for the true news. You're listening to Old Friends News Program, the only source for the true news. Okay, hi everybody. Today is the January 18th, and I have a special guest on my program, Old Friends News, Erick Laptek.
How you doing?
How are you? He's a Californian born. He's a real American, I would call so. The guy who knows what's going on. He grew up in California, and we keep talking about the New World Order and all what's going on. I would, and I'm very glad that you made a time, and I appreciate you coming to my program, so you can put your little 1 cent in this whole big fight that we do have. Uh, so please tell us what's going on in California.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in California. Fortunately, a lot of them are not so good. Wish I could say, oh, we have lots of good jobs. I wish we could say we have a great governor that believes in personal freedoms. I wish I could say uh, he's got the taxes under control. Forget all that. It's the direct opposite. Here in California, we have every year we're getting squeezed more and more. And when I say we, I mean the average working person um, trying to earn enough money, sometimes working 2, 3 jobs right now. Many people work uh, 2.5 jobs just to pay their bills, just to buy gas, just to buy food, just to pay their rent, which everybody I know got increased this beginning of this year. 20. So people are being, like I said, they're being squeezed, like you squeeze an orange or a lemon. That's the average person here. People are very worried about the future. They worry about this kids' schools, just because more and more controlled by the unions, teacher unions, who have a political agenda. All leftists, all left. Much of it bordering on Marxism. So you have your kids getting their heads filled with political garbage. They're being groomed to be, let's be honest, they're being groomed to be Democratic voters. And that's it. And they're all about taxing, and very little services. The borders are wide open. I heard a statistic that there are thousands of illegal aliens pouring into California, Texas. Um, Situation's just really out of control. This is really out of control. We have no leadership here. Um, we had one gentleman named Larry Elder, a Republican, and he actually ran years ago. He faced criticism from the start. It was hard to get his name across in a positive manner. So that's basically in a nutshell. Like I said, I wish I could paint a more beautiful picture of California, but this is what I'm giving you is the cold reality of what's going on here. A lot of negative things. Most Californians don't see it getting any better, quite honestly. Um, there are a few that are making good money here. They got union jobs. Um, those usually pay the best. Government. We have a lot of studios in Los Angeles, Hollywood. I make good money. They have to. You have to make about $40 to $50 an hour just to survive. Gas is $5.50 a gallon. Our inflation's the greatest inflation in, I believe, 79. So,
Can you speak louder? Louder.
oh, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Um, the can is this better?
yeah,
Can you
loud,
hear me
just loud.
better? Okay.
Yeah.
The situation is just, it's really a tough spot the average person is in right now. That's why we had record numbers of people leaving the state. We had record numbers. I don't know the exact number, but I do know it was the thousands of people leaving um, California because they can't afford it anymore. Liberal, whatever you want to call it, leftists in the state, the Democrats mostly, they all they can think of is taxing more and more and more. Now they want to tax our mileage on your cars. Um, so they want to tax that now. They're thinking about, in other words, they're thinking 24/7 how to raise taxes, how to make life generate more money, make life tougher, and they don't care. Afford it? Fine. You can't afford it? And they just shrug their shoulders and laugh at you. Everywhere you go, there's new taxes, new taxes. The gas tax going to go up again this year. Already, we're, I believe, the highest in the nation, one of the highest gas tax. So we're really just being squeezed hard, and the current crisis that's going throughout the world, different diseases, it's only making it even. Situation is only aggravated when you have a politician that likes to raise taxes and he's panicking. That's the kind of governor we have right now. It's not
What would you
humane.
say about what would you say about loss of freedoms, the attitude of people towards the loss of freedoms? As far as I'm concerned, I see California not only but as a constitution-free zones, basically, like a tyrannical mini models of communist Russia or mm, Korean model, somewhat. So, what do you feel environmentally? I remember you told me stories. You were so angry with ridiculousness of reaction, how ridiculous people react on loss of freedoms, and they're okay with that. So let's touch upon those now, subjects too.
Well, the area I live in, Southern California, is, of course, it's extremely liberal, um, very
Speak loud.
democratic.
Speak
Okay,
loud.
the place I live, in Southern California, it's very, very liberal. Very, they vote heavily Democrat Party. Um, so, needless to say, we have a lot of people, old and young. I've noticed it goes across all age groups. Um, People very eager will say they're very eager to comply with the government. Anything, just about anything they say goes. For example, I was walking through the park, go on a daily walk, and I regularly see maybe 75% of the average people with masks over their face. Some people even wearing goggles because I guess they don't want anything getting in their eyes. I saw bicyclists speeding along the highway on the side of the shoulder, and he was practically, his whole head was covered up, wrapped up, mask, goggles, and he had something on his head. He wrapped around his head. I guess he was scared of his head. So we've got a lot of people that are afraid. They're just uh, brainwashed into complying with anything that the government asks or requests or tells you to do. Los Angeles County now, You need to show proof of vaccination in order to get into most places. I believe you can still go in at a grocery store, but your face better be covered up. That's another big thing. People are completely brainwashed into wearing a mask everywhere they go, and they'll tell you if you don't have one on, they'll let you know right away. Um, so that's the big key word here is complying. Everybody, the group think everybody has to give up their freedoms in order to for the they call it the greater good. And it's just funny what they are brainwashed into, what they expect from other people. Healthcare or your the healthcare here, it's good, but it's very very expensive. And being here, just like I said, being a regular person, work getting more and more expensive. Everything is expensive, less freedoms at the same time, more rules than ever before. Um, so that's the name of the game right now is control, control, control. Everything has to be controlled by the state, which very much makes me think of um, how far left is California going to be? Um, we have again record people that are leaving the state because it's just becoming unlivable. It's becoming harder and harder just to maintain the status quo. On
It is it is unbelievable how fast. I mean, the people just gave up. I watched Mark Dice made some funny videos that he was telling people in Martin Luther King's Day that I was interviewing them and asking them, "Oh, you know, the Martin Luther King died in car accident, and you should go to funeral tomorrow." And people were, "Oh, yeah, that's bad. I know my friends are very mourning about it." And then I could not believe the level of stupidity, and I just could not believe. That's no wonder why, the people are wear the mask, because if they don't know about the Martin Luther King not being dead from car accident yesterday, let alone they don't know what the 4th of July is. They don't know they don't know nothing. I'm not surprised that why the California the way it is, because the populace, I don't think they use what's called up their brains. I don't think they use them, and that's sad because I lived there for 30 years almost, and I moved myself to South Dakota. That is a completely different world, absolutely different world, from family values and intellectual average IQ, principles of the people, the constitutionality of the state, okay, which is very important, and the attitude of people towards the government. We are the people here have, I would say, pretty fair share of control of the government. We control the government. I was sitting yesterday and talking to the Senator Julie Miller, my friend, and then I met candidate for governor. Governor's supposed to come. We would have met her too, with no bodyguards, with no craziness. Even though we are the state open carry state, so we have guns everywhere. But people have no bodyguards. People understand, the freedoms. So, in versus the California, where you cannot even go to the courthouse without being searched like a criminal, you can't even have with you nail cutter or the keys from your car, and people are okay with that. I really personally, Eric, I don't see any hope for California. Personally, I don't. I wish I'd be wrong, but I don't see any hope. Honestly, I just
I
don't. I wish I could.
I unfortunately I have to agree with you. I'd say I have 1% of me hoping that somehow things can change, but I'm 99.9% going to agree with you. And I say that because um, just the how fast people have given up their rights has amazed me. We're going on 2+ years of this, this whole thing going on. People getting sick. It's like I was saying before. I see people just gripped with fear. They're terrified. They really are, and they look to the government, whether it's a federal government or local government, state government. They just want some government to rescue them, so they are willing to give up their rights, whether it's gun rights, whether it's medical rights, personal rights. They're willing to give it up. And it seems to me like I'm going to have to agree with you when you just said too far gone. I think it is. I think I'm going to have to agree with you. We have a liberal it's called a super majority. Democrats have a super majority state government. That means that there's just a minimum handful of opposition, and even opposition is just very, very weak. So we have nobody really speaking out. Regular person. We have people that don't have our interests at heart. Unfortunately, people are just willing to lay down their freedoms that we've had for hundreds of years and give it up for just a little bit of protection. And I think to myself on a day-to-day basis, how far can this go? How far can this go? I wonder what would be where people would say no. We haven't reached that point yet. People are just so fearful of so many things, and they're willing to trust the government like that. That's really what's so frustrating. See the average person, but yeah, I don't think that there is any hope. I think the only thing that a sane person can get out of here as soon as possible.
So you're planning to get out of there, huh?
Yeah, myself, I'm just getting my ducks in a row in order to get out of here. It used to be a great state. It's unlivable now. It's unlivable.
It's
Taxes.
amazing that you're an American-born guy. In a private conversation, you were so angry about, the other day. Remember, you were so angry. You went to the store and they start asking ridiculous things, and you couldn't even comprehend, like, well, how stupid can people be? It doesn't apply to everyone, but the vast majority that going with the ridiculous, idiotic programs and brainwashing that they accepted it. And how far can it be? I mean, how much more, like you said, they can take? See, I think there is a big role plays the immigration, that the California has tons of immigrants from third world countries where people being brainwashed from a get-go in the beginning with relying on governments or even hating governments, if you wish, but still the government plays a big role in their head, and they think of themselves as a little cockroaches who can not do nothing. They have to go like everyone else, wherever, where the flow is, that's where they go. I think that mentality was deliberately, they poured people from third world countries to change demographics in United States, especially in states like California. I see there is a deliberate sabotage of an American spirit. I see it that way. And
Overall
as a
trend.
result, we get that. You think so?
I would have to agree. The the overall, well, to kind of bounce off of what you're saying, um, look at the number of people that are leaving the state. Um, what you're seeing is that the people who do cherish freedoms, the people who do like appreciate less government, they're leaving the state and they're going towards places like Texas, South Dakota, traditional places where there's a lot of room for growth. Americans love this idea of sky's the limit, that a person can lift themselves out of bad situation. That's always been a thing that Americans have. That's one of our selling points. And this state can no longer can no longer be a place for people who cherish freedom. They You can't do it. This is a place where you can't grow, you can't live, and that's the two big reasons why I'm getting out of here. And I know a lot of other people that are. I can tell you 5, 6, 7 other people that I about the same age or younger that are waiting, just waiting to get out of the state. It's just becoming too controlling.
Because I know you make a decent living, but you told me that your priorities the freedoms before anything. Because making a living in a prison, what good is that? So you just want to live free, even maybe for less money, but exercise and experience what America is about. Your personal freedoms, not being forced to anything into those poisonous, questionable vaccines and masks, and that's a tyranny. In other words, you prefer to, and I like the fact that there is some people like you left that you prefer to die, or live without freedoms. It's like live free or die. This is a very important message to people, and you know, it is sad. It is sad because, but also I want to add something that more pressure they put on us, more people, not necessarily in California or New York, but more people understand that something is really, really, really wrong with this new world order stuff. Because it is a new world order. They're not even hiding it. They're saying new norm. Uh, it's just
Great
that
piece.
the climate bills they trying to pass, which is a total tyrannical dictatorship. Now we should expect coming more of these cyber attacks, so that way they can take down the internet. And I assume if they're successful, they were gonna ask. They're going to ask for your fingerprints, your QR codes, vaccine status, so you can go back online again. They've been already talking about cyber attacks. They're basically openly telling us what's the next plan to be. So, what would you recommend? Because we're gonna end. The time is running out. What would you recommend, suggest, or what would you call for to our listeners as an American, Californian born?
Well, a couple of things. I would say number one, and this goes for across all nationalities. Um, as things deteriorate economically, um, we want to get ourselves. And I know I've heard other commentators point on this. It's so important is getting your health in order. Make sure that you're getting your rest. You're eating healthy foods, drinking plenty of water, getting your exercise. And this is for anyone who has any spiritual program, whether you're Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever. Really, really embrace it. Stick close. Again, second, stick close. Find friends that have like minds. Find people, whether in your community or online. Find people that you can help each other when, especially as the situation gets worse and worse. We're going to need each other to look out for each other. There may be food shortages in the future. There may be, as the economy gets worse and the dollar declines, the crime has been going up. So we need to look for like-minded people. Surround yourself with people who think like you. That's the second thing. Um, I think after that, we need to continue to educate ourselves. I know a lot of this can be um, not the happiest stuff to think about, not the most fun things to think about, but we want to prepare. So we want to educate ourselves what's going on in the world and to stay two steps ahead of it. Because they are not finished on their idea of control. I think that the so-called leaders are going to continue to put the squeeze on everybody. I think they're just gotten started. So people who think 2022 is going to be, well, it's going to be better, or it's going to be, they're going to give us back our freedoms.
Oh yeah,
They're
right.
never they're never going to do it. These guys are control freaks. Whether they are whether they're from Soviet Union or they're from England, Germany, Austria, all these guys are all fanatics. Look at Germany, look at Austria, for example. Um, now the vaccines are required. Now everybody has to get a shot, or you can't even go in the grocery stores anymore. I think that's going to come here to the United States. I think we have it in a few places like LA and New York and Chicago, where you can't even go into most places, public places, without showing a vaccine record. So these things are just the start. What you're seeing is just the start of more control, more control, more control, which unfortunately, as Ron Paul said, more government controls, the less freedoms the citizens have. And that is so true. That is so true. Less economic freedoms, less physical freedoms. And being in such a place like California, and I know you said you have people listening to you all over the country, if not all over the world. Um, no matter who we are, we love freedoms. We should Americans have um, and others have enjoyed the freedoms here. And I believe we've become so lazy over the years that we're just ready to roll over and die and just let the government take over our lives. So it's so important to surround yourself with people who you can trust, people who not only think like you, but you can trust them. You know things do get rough.
Well, thank you. I might add one thing again. Do not comply and be active. Get involved in politics. Be active and do not comply. That's just a little spice that I poured on your plate.
Excellent.
Well,
No, I
thank you.
agree.
Thank you, Eric. I was not American born, but I feel as American as it gets. I feel more American, unfortunately, that I see that some Americans who supposed to be Americans because they're born here. I feel more American than ever could. As a matter of fact, I want to end my program with this following statement. I was on Telegram communicating with some Armenian chats. I found myself not relating, not to have any connections with their mentality, even though we have mutual interest, that is loss of our country, changing the regime over there. But besides that, we could not agree on vaccines, on the topic of what freedom is, on none of the issues, on Second Amendment, bearing guns. I was really sadly disappointed yesterday and realized that I got no connections with most of people there from country that I was born. And same happens here for you, and same happens here for here. So my conclusion is this: like you're absolutely right. Surrounding yourself with the people of like mind is very important, and also it is very important. Do not comply educate your right, and say no to the tyranny, or we're going to end up in a really bad spot if we do not understand what the values are about, what the Second Amendment is about, what the U.S. Constitution and the whole principles of founding fathers and common sense is about, basically. Well, I thank you, Eric. I thank you. Thanks for coming here and sharing your thoughts. This is not the last time, I hope. This is first time and it's not a last time. So you have a wonderful day. I really appreciate you coming here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me on, and it's a lot of fun talking to you.